Our story starts small, as many adventures start, but 3.23 Live is soon going to be upon us, and with it, Invictus launch week, and all of the excitement that goes along with that. So, we're going to dissect this video and also a few other official sources, and then offer some analysis of that will allow everyone, I think, to come to a very strong conclusion, and let's try to keep it moving. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you to my group subscribers. So the first thing that we note is that the medical Nursa, which some are now calling the Ursa Red, is real. So the Nursa is a real thing. It will have one bed. And we know that because there was a sneak peek of it on the final page of Jump Point magazine this month. This one blurry image, when we enhance it, shows that there will be one bed and then the medical supplies on the other side. Additionally, in the video, there's a still frame that we can use to extrapolate the left side. So we know on the right side is the bed, and on the left side is the medical supplies and like some sort of station, a lot like the C8R has for the person actually treating the injured person. Now, based on the fact that we see an interior here in the video and that it's an existing vehicle's variant, it is very easy to say that there's a high chance that this will be a 3.23.1 rollout. So probably right during ILW, this would be available or shortly thereafter. As a reminder, the Nursa in general is a very useful vehicle because it can be packed into so many different ships. Like, for example, adding medical to all the Connies is a vast change for them. Any ship that can fit an Ursa can suddenly become much more useful because it can bring this service alongside. Think of it less as a vehicle and more as a add-on for your ship. Additionally, we see in the video the MPUV-1T poking its head out there with a tractor beam on the front at the top above where the single pilot would sit. As a reminder, with the MPUV in general, it'll be extremely valuable and be more expensive than the other MPUVs, unless the personnel cargo module is more expensive, due to the fact that it is interchangeable modules. So it can use a cargo module or a personnel module, and then this would also add a tractor beam to the capability list of the ship if it is able to use the modules from the other ones. They are not yet interchangeable, but with cargo, we will slowly see these be added where you can just drop off a module and swap positions. So one can do the role of multiple. This one has a tractor beam, which is that much more valuable. Additionally, in the video, we see the Polaris do a flyby. It is inferred that this will not be a flyable ship. It will be in the flyby though, so you can get a good view of a high definition exterior of the ship while they continue to work on the interior. I do agree with Pipeline's position that the opaque windows of the cockpit glass indicate that its interior is not ready for prime time yet. Additionally, there is cargo trolley that was in the email sneak peek, and this is something that you should not have to purchase. It should be something that's inside the hangars in the 3.23.1 or .2 when that comes out. And this follows suit just like the Razor as the cleaning vehicle that will be put in game as a service, but not something you have to buy. And finally, rounding things out, if you haven't heard already, we have hover bikes that will be coming. I'll cover those in their own video. And the Idris will have a full-on walkthrough that's, quote, self-guided. So that means that you'll be able to explore it to your heart's content, finally. For a lot of other people, where we wanted this in the worst way possible, and this is a wonderful thing. It's obvious that's why they were holding it back in some of the more recent events that made it very hard to see the interior of the Idris. This will be a great way to kind of round things out, be able to guide yourself around. So, exterior Polaris flybys, interior exploration of the Idris. Neither one of those ships will likely be flyable during ILW, but I would be very, very cognizant of the 12-month period, and we'll probably rapidly see these ships being rolled out over time between now and IAE of this year, late this year. Now, I want to note that the overall timelines of Invictus launch week sometimes give away what is the big headlines. I think the hover bikes will be available from day one, acting as LTI tokens. Additionally, I see that on May 17th, 18th, you've got RSI, Origin, and Consolid Outland and Argo all rolling out together. Argo, of course, having the new MPUV-1T tractor beam ship. And then Misk, Crusader, Tumbril, and Mirai, all on the 19th and 20th. And of course, Mirai's going to keep pushing the hover bikes. And then 21st and 22nd, Aegis having its own day is likely due to the fact that would be when the Idris would be tourable during that time period. So the Idris is rather large, and it would take up a tremendous amount of space if it's on the show floor. Now, they could also turn around and just say, okay, well, you have to go to the docking location like the Javelin tours in the past, but docking sometimes has issues and other things like that, and the Idris is just small enough they could squeeze it onto the show floor. A long time ago, they had the exterior of an Idris on display during a large event. And it'll be interesting to see if that's the direction they go. Now, on the 23rd, 24th, Anvil Aerospace has its own day as well. It presents an interesting topic for me. Could we have a surprise Liberator release? I am not saying that's set in stone or something, but we haven't heard much about the Liberator. It's only a 2-person crew, maybe 3 after resource management's in and everything's changed a little bit on engineering. But overall, if I was going to aim for a surprise to whammy the audience with, I would say the Liberator. They said many years ago, a few years ago, when they designed the Liberator, it was designed to be the ferry to Pyro. Well, Pyro's around the corner, and we still don't have the Liberator. And for such a small ship, crewed ship, I didn't say it's small ship, but for a small crew on a ship, and the fact it does not have pad services, and the only thing that was holding it back technologically was the 2-point defense system PDS turrets, it presents an interesting choice. Additionally, having the Liberator out now would be a great capital crew trainer for orgs, so they can carry around a lot of these fresh new vehicles like the Nursa and all these hover bikes and all this crazy stuff, and also bigger vehicles, and enjoy still being able to carry some of the small fighters and such to escort the ship around and kind of move together as a group. And with physicalized cargo on the horizon, the Liberator will be a wonderful way to move about 500 SCU around, as well as vehicles, as well as ships, all at once in one swoop, a lot like a cap ship would enjoy in the future. And it's not huge enough to kind of crash a server if there's maybe, by bad luck, 2 or 3 Liberators near each other, all docking at the nearest location, so or whatnot. So I find it an interesting thing. I'm going to take my wild shot in the dark here and say it's possible. And as many journeys we can see, 3.23 is an adventure. I would say that this is one of the biggest patches. I do agree with CIG's assessment on their live show today that it is a adventure that I'm on the ride for, just like everyone else in the audience. And I would say that I think there's going to be a rapid development of content. The fear is gone, and this is a very exciting patch cycle. And those comparing this patch cycle to 3.18 in a negative light, I think you're forgetting that the massive amount of resources that are suddenly being leveraged from Squadron now focused on the PU and getting it right. And we're even starting to see in some of the progress tracker information that they're making a fix for an AI or a ship and such, and they're kicking it back to Squadron because they're doing that much work in the PU development that they're starting to see the trickle down is going the opposite direction, where the bulk majority of the work is actually being worked on with the PU. No matter what they claim, joint development and everything, that's fine. But at the end of the day, one game is going to take up a lot of resources. And right now it's the PU, and I'm loving it. So as a reminder, also, if you haven't gone through an ILW yet, or you've forgotten, Drake Defense Con is Drake's own version. It's usually at another location nearby in the same planetary landing location. And then there's the finale on the 27th, 28th, 29th. And as a reminder, for practical reasons, the ship sales continue on the finale, where they sell everything. So if you miss a day, or you're on vacation, or you're busy with work or school or whatnot, don't fret. You have the finale to focus around it. Never, ever, ever feel like you have that fear of missing out. Ships will always be there. Now, if you are concerned about price increases, that's the reason you want to purchase, not because of lack of availability, but because of price increases. Remember, you can always make a hole with a CCU in the pledge store. If you go to the CCU, tool, you can left click on the radial buttons at the top left, all ships, and then select the nearest ship to the ship you wish to purchase. And then you can basically hold that ship and don't melt that, and then just sit on it. So that would, for 10 or 20 or 30 USD, you can hold a very expensive ship. So that way you don't feel that necessary need to just buy every ship that you've ever dreamed of. And oh my goodness, what if the Crucible surprises us all and suddenly goes up to the price it's going to be someday? You can have a CCU and just happily sit on it, and ideally forget it exists for a while. And then when it's time to use it, go back through, oh yeah, don't I have one of those? Oh yeah, great. Additionally, one last reminder about paints. Paints are a good idea, but they are a good idea to melt. So if there's rare paints for different events, you can absolutely buy a paint, melt that said paint after a day goes by, and then use that same credit to buy additional paint. So if you're worried about missing out on a yearly event paint, you can buy it that way, and then just pull it out of your melt pile when you are excited about using it. So that's kind of your survival kit. And once again, if you haven't already, please, please, please subscribe. Thank you to my long-term subscribers sticking around. I make these as much for you all as I do for myself anymore. And let's continue on this adventure to 3.23 live. I am so excited to share it with you. And there should be another video on the horizon very soon about some of the DLSS and FSR findings, sorry y'all, that I have been testing, but I am trying not to milk videos. I want to only release the videos when I have something exciting and different, like they fix this shader issue, or in particular, one of the things I've been trying to hold off on is lighting fixing, especially for FSR, and because that is something I've heard many, many times in comments and in Discord chats I've had with people, is I am running AMD. I have no choice but to use FSR. And I really hate that the lighting is like that. I keep telling them, everybody who's come to me, I'm like, please give it some time. You've seen the amazing distances we've come in just a few patch builds, just a few builds of a patch cycle. So let's see if they fix that. And additionally, something else personally I want to see is a frame increase in Lorville, which is it's the Mount Everest of FPS. Getting 60 FPS consistent in Lorville would be amazing. Although that's extremely hard for many, many, many good reasons. And that's not picking on upscaling. It's not upscaling's fault. Basically the underlying tech. We can go into that in a whole video if we'd like, but for now, I'm going to keep this some sort of semblance of on track. And I wish you all a wonderful adventure, a wonderful Invictus launch week. And of course, I'll be here for it. And as a reminder, I always do videos as soon as I get to the test areas. So when they put it on the PTU, as long as it's wave 1 at least, I can do videos covering some of the test areas. And usually it has not the brand new ship, but everything but it. So it allows you to kind of really get a taste of how it's going to feel, how it's going to look. And of course, I can tie in some of the upscaling and Vulcan testing into that. All right, that's all I got for real this time. Take care.